Hello Art 109. This week's artist is Sonia Boyce. Prior to this lecture video, you should have watched two Blackboard videos called Gathering a History of Black Women and The Pioneers of Britain's Black Art Movement. About our artist, let's first look at the titles associated with her name. She was named Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 2024 for services to art. OBE stands for Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. And in the United Kingdom, RA is an honor granted to a member of the Royal Academy of Arts in London. It is a prestigious title for a painter, sculptor, printmaker, or architect who is professionally active in Britain. So this is an artist that has been recognized and honored by her home country for her contributions to art. We'll see her criticize that same country in her artworks as well. And when you go to Sonia Boyce's website, this is how she lists her name, Sonia Boyce, OBERA. So I wanted to make sure to include her name as she would want it and to kind of explain to you all what those titles meant. Sonia Boyce was born in 1962 in London to West Indian immigrant parents, graduated from Stourbridge College of Art in 1983. Just before that, she attended the first National Conference of Black Artists, which was the beginning of her role in the British Black Arts movement. She is a professor of Black Art and Design at the University of the Arts in London, and Boyce has been collaborating with other artists since 1990. Keep this in mind as we go through some of her later works, that they often involve improv and spontaneous performative actions. Boyce's work involves a variety of media. Her early work, a lot of drawings. Then she moves into print, photography, video, and sound. Overall, her art explores the relationship between sound and memory, the dynamics of space, and incorporating the spectator. In the 1980s, Sonia Boyce became a part of the Black Art Group and Black Art Movement, a political art movement inspired by anti-racist discourse and feminist critique. Formed in Wolverhampton, England in 1979, the Black Art Group was an association of young black artists who raised questions about what black art was, its identity, and what it could become in the future. They also critiqued imperialism and colonialism. The British Black Arts movement was founded around the time of the first National Black Art Convention, organized by the Black Art Group. Our BBC video did a good job explaining the movement, and we saw some footage from the time as well. So at this time, our artist did drawings. You see the example here from 1986 is made of charcoal, pastel, and watercolor on paper. It's in 4 parts, and check out the title, Lay Back, Keep Quiet, and Think of What Made Britain So Great. On the first 3 panels, you have black and white crosses, each with a different place colonized by Britain, Cape Colony, India, and Australia. These panels lead to a portrait of a young black woman seemingly contemplating all of this, or looking at the viewer to do so. There's black roses and vines surrounding the crosses, along with a gradient of red dots that remind me of a pinprick of blood, as if the thorns on the roses have pierced something. The black roses you'll see the artist used to refer to the English rose as well as her own black identity. We'll see this in the next artwork as well. One of her most famous drawings is She Ain't Holding 'Em Up, She Is Holding On, Some English Rose, which is pictured above. In this work, Boyce portrays herself as the strong woman supporting a family who balance in her hands. The artwork is about the challenge of holding on to the parts of your identity that come from your family, even if you've had a very different life from them. Many of her drawings address the subjects of race, identity, and growing up in the city. In this drawing, Boyce wears a pink dress decorated with black roses. The rose is the emblem of England, but the black color is a reminder of her heritage. The flower is also associated with femininity, but the thorns give it a hidden strength. Through the pattern on her dress, Boyce creates a new symbol that is true to her individual identity, combining blackness, British nationality, and gender. Missionary position number 2 explores ideas about British society in the 1980s, especially conflicting opinions about religious beliefs across different generations and cultures. The artist uses herself as the model for both figures, and the work reflects her growing discomfort towards her Christian upbringing. The artist knows her ancestral roots do not belong or do not include Christianity, and this religion in her family is a result of colonization, so she's questioning it here. The praying figure on the left suggests passive acceptance of white culture. The figure on the right, wearing a red turban, which Boyce associated with Rastafarianism, proposes an alternative position to the dominant ideologies of the day. You can see that figure trying to get the attention of the passive figure as well. The room in the background and its decor has meaning as well. For example, the lampstand with the bust of a black girl's head belonged to the artist's mother, as well as the sofa, which indicates how personal this viewpoint is. The paisley carpet symbolizes imperialism and cultural appropriation, as the pattern itself originated in Asia, but was renamed after a Scottish town. So the pattern paisley, the pattern itself originated in Asia, but then it was renamed paisley after a Scottish town, which kind of erased its original roots in Asia. I'm including part 1, missionary position number 1, because if you're like me, if I see a part 2, I want to know what part 1 looks like. And I haven't done a full analysis of this drawing, but I did notice the hole in the large white hand. That's called stigmata in art and refers to the holes created by nails during the crucifixion of Christ. So this is perhaps meant to be Christ's hand and a symbol of Christianity, which would make sense. There's also text, which includes the Lord's Prayer, as well as other phrases such as total submission. Then we have this young black woman sort of side-eyeing the hand. Do you see anything else? In the 1990s, Boyce stopped drawing and began experimenting with photography and performance. While she had included herself in her earlier works, her new projects often involve other people. She still dealt with many of the same themes of gender and race, but thought about them in a more universal way, as big ideas that affect everyone. She began to deconstruct and reconstruct images around the black female body. She also explored artifact artworks in which an artist collects objects, and in this case, photographs and displays those objects to send a message, idea, or feeling. Do You Want to Touch is a collection of synthetic hair that creates sculptural forms divorced from the body. With the title, Boyce is alluding to the common notion of people wanting to inappropriately touch black hair. She ties this work back to the historical context of the African body being viewed as public property. In one of the videos we watched, she described the emotional impact of the hair being separated from the body as well. So, Boyce collects synthetic hair, and then, much like what a museum would do, photographs that object, and then Boyce can either use the photograph of the object or the object itself in an exhibition or for display. The devotional series is a result of 10 years of collecting material on Black British female musicians and singers. This collection is made up of over 200 names and 1,000 sound pieces that Boyce has collected and been gifted to her by the public since 1999. Notice there in the citation it says that it began in 1999, but it goes through the present. So they're working together to create a collective memory. During the Miranda July week, we discussed participatory art, and we're seeing that here as well. The devotional wallpaper, pictured on the right, shows names of Black British female singers resonating with each other through a system of irregular lines around typed letters. The lines indicate sound or reverberation as they resonate with one another, which is, really nice considering that they're singers, right? So this is a visual way of having their voice be heard. This work is performative. She doesn't like the term performance for this, but you can watch a video recording of her artwork, Exquisite Tension on Blackboard. It's listed right under the lecture video as documenting live. And in the video, you saw two people's hair being braided together. There's tension in the braids between the people in the audience, perhaps. Sonia Boyce emphasized at the end of the video that getting people's spontaneous reaction is important. The response is the art. The improv, non-planned connection or social bond is the art. So this was done in the 1990s as well, and this is when we start to see an emphasis on this element of improv, spontaneity, the audience being included in the artwork that you're going to see in her art through present day. In the first video you watched, this artwork was discussed. Exquisite Cacophony is a live, improvised interpretation by vocal artist Astronautilus and Elaine Michener, and they performed this improv for the closing events of the Venice Biennale in November 2015. 2 points here. We have another performative work that lets an audience in, and just so you know, the Venice Biennale is the top exhibition of contemporary art from around the world. So Sonia Boyce is truly at the top of the top. And if you saw the clip, there's indeed a cacophony of noises. So how do you think you would have felt being in the audience? Notice the artist really steps back during the live performance, but then will take the recording of and make a film of it or use the footage in other types of exhibition. So let's talk about this. Sonia Boyce knew of, was interested in, had heard about these two artists. They had not previously known each other before, and so she set them up together. And then she sort of relinquishes control, even directorial control, and she just lets this performance happen. But then afterwards, right, she's made a recording of the improv, so she can take that and use that footage, change it in any way that she'd like. She can use that footage in other types of exhibition. So that is her role in this artwork. Now to newer work from Boyce. This is from 2020. In the Castle of My Skin is a solo show of new commissions and existing work by an artist with work by 7 other artists. The exhibition is built through improv techniques. So imagine she brought some work, old and new, and then just allowed other artists to go for it. The project takes shape across a large new sculptural display system. The sculpture is based on the crystalline form of the mineral pyrite, known as fool's gold, and is clad in wallpapers made by Boyce since the early 1990s. So I think you all can see that large angular shape in the pictures covered in wallpaper. So that's the kind of basic sculptural display system, and then the other artists come in and interact with it. So the different artists' work spills from Boyce's extraordinary structure, encouraging connections across artworks from different eras and made in a range of materials. These works expand Boyce's thinking about the speculative nature of improv, social bonding, visual cultures, and relationships to the built environment. Boyce is fascinated by moments of serendipity that occur when people are brought together without a script. And remember, that is the art, the process, not the product. Going more into the meaning behind the visuals and title, In the Castle of My Skin starts with the metaphor of skin as a covering, a surface, a barrier, a marker of identity, and a connector between internal and external worlds. In addition to the covered sculpture, Boyce was also commissioned to do a new video. The new video comes out of the performative laboratory of 2 live public events in which local skateboarders and skateboarding ukulele players performed. So this is also combined with footage of female skaters shot in Middlesbrough who play and improvise. And the structure might remind you of a skate park or other urban environment, and that's definitely being explored here. Another layer of meaning, the title, In the Castle of My Skin, comes from an autobiographical novel by writer George Laming and is a study of colonial revolt that is seen as one of the great political novels in modern colonial literature. So though this artwork is kind of improv and like I mentioned, kind of provided this sculpture structure for other artists to kind of play with, it's also has these deeply meaningful and well thought out elements as well, such as the title and the different layers of meaning here. Manchester Art Gallery regularly runs what it calls takeovers, where an artist is invited to intervene in the permanent collection in some way. So Sonia Boyce was invited to come in and take over, and Boyce began to have conversations with staff about how the work in the galleries is selected, displayed, and interpreted. And a lot of colleagues wanted to join in, from the curators, the people that clean the building, gallery attendants, volunteers, and a lot of these folks were women who were uneasy about the way gender was represented in the gallery. So just imagine, these are people that work there every day, they see the paintings every day, and they themselves expressed an uneasiness. There seemed to be two roles played by women: femme fatales, driving men to their deaths, or figures of beauty in quiet contemplation, but no active agents, not a lot of female agency or empowerment. So conversations kept coming back to a particular work, which was John William Waterhouse's 1896 painting Hylas and the Nymphs, which is pictured here on this slide, inspired by a poem of Theocritus. So that's like ancient Greek, of semi-naked girls luring Hylas into a lily pond. Sexually ferocious and destructive, beautiful and powerful, objects for the male gaze, a common but destructive image of women. So in the poem, Hylas is actually a lover of Hercules, who I'm sure you've heard of, right? The big, strong Greek mythological hero. And the poem is sort of from Hercules' point of view, as Hylas is sort of taken away from him by these nymphs. And so then we have a painting of this moment where they're sort of he's at the edge of the water and they're sort of pulling him in away from Hercules. So, in this case, women as beautiful, but, to the peril of men. So Boyce decided, as a part of her intervention, to remove the painting for a week, and this incited outrage, with some calling it a publicity stunt, some others saying that it was harmful censorship. The artist argued that it was about making the hidden workings of museums and their curators more apparent, and it was meant to sort of start a conversation and not censor art. So museums and curators, they have a say in what message they are sending by the type of art they choose to go on display and how they display and discuss them. And Boyce was sort of pointing that out. For this intervention, Boyce also invited a group of drag artists and the queer actor and writer Lasana Shabazz to perform in the galleries during the evening. Venus Vienna, standing in front of Hylas and the nymphs, handed Polaroid selfies, handed out, some of them uncomfortably intimate to passers-by. Licorice Black was costumed as the dark hooded Sappho of Mengen's painting and scribbled away furiously, never speaking. Cheddar Gorgeous referred to the painting Eve Tempted. So the author insists that the past is not, as she puts it, sealed off from the present. We have a live relationship with it, one that changes and develops and sometimes becomes fraught. All right, so that's it for this artist.